is an excellent view of me.
We can't see your face.
That's better. Not that.
Fine. Since you don't want to hear Jesus music, that's fine. Huh?
You share the thing?
Sure what? Sure.
The link.
It didn't open my newsfeed.
I shared it, so I don't know. Couldn't tag you. So.
This?
That's us.
Yeah. You want me to share this?
Yes. And I can't see if anybody's.
I think somebody's on, but I can't tell.
We should bring that up here.
Okay. Sure, it's all on me. I mean, you know. All right. But now you can't see me at all. It's okay. I'll move. That's good. We got 2 people on.
Say hello. Hello, whoever is on. Can you let us know if you can hear us? Can you hear us? Hello, hello. You gotta scoot over.
I don't want to be that close to you. You the pillow.
Look what you did.
Look what you did.
All right, can you hear us? Can you comment? If you can hear us, say something. Can you hear us? Hello, hello. You picked the song specifically?
I did.
I see 3 people, but I don't hear if you can hear us. So if you can hear us, say hello. Hopefully you can hear us. I see 3 people, but I don't hear if you.
Yeah, so we can hear.
Okay, good. We can hear us. Okay, we're going to get started. Yeah, forget the music, babe.
No, I like the music. The music says it's our anniversary, so yeah.
You keep coming up. We gotta scoot
That's because you keep
closer.
moving. Stop moving.
Okay, wait.
There. There.
I should have flipped it. Okay, I'll lean forward.
There, it's fine.
Hello, thank you for joining us on our anniversary. It's our 17th anniversary. You can open the questions.
Has it really been 17
It's been
years?
17.
Oh my Lord.
So we wanted to do this live. This is my idea.
Really?
So hopefully it's not a dumb idea. But I was thinking of things that were important to both of us. And 2 years ago, a year ago, we created
2 years.
Legacy Group. And what the Legacy Group is, it's hopefully going to be part of our legacy and really empowering people to become better people, leave a legacy, think about life and what they want their life to be, and what they want to leave behind after they're dead and gone. And so when I thought about what I wanted to do on my anniversary with my husband, building that legacy was something that I thought was important. So hopefully you're down for this idea.
I mean, I'm here now, so yeah, great. Let's do it.
Okay, well, I made the question, so it's gonna be great. I already know. Before we can jump into the questions, I do want to this is so what we'll pull questions out of here. These are numbered so that it's random. But there's a question to begin with. If you'll read that one.
Is that number?
It's
Okay. So question number 1, I guess. Zero. Why are you taking a piece of your anniversary celebration to talk about marriage?
Why are you?
So marriage is really important. Marriage is a covenant relationship between two people that God is in the middle of. And I think we've seen a lot of um, rocky marriages, failed marriages, um, a lot of things not work out well. And so we just want to be able to, encourage people, those that are married, those that are contemplating marriage, and kind of give you a little bit of our story and kind of where we've come from and where we see ourselves going. Things that work, things that maybe don't work. But yeah.
Yeah, all of that. And because I wanted something fun. So hopefully this is fun. You're going to hear funny stories. You're going to see a lot of our dynamic. So I think sometimes you think your marriage is weird or not, doesn't fit in until you get to spend time with other couples and you realize maybe we do fit in. Like, I know we've seen that over the years. I used to think we were so odd. But the more and more we spend time together, the longer we're together, I realize that we're not odd. That we are.
I mean, we are odd, but yeah.
We fit. Our marriage is a good marriage. It's not weird. It's not like.
I mean, it is weird though.
Whatever. It's just you.
All right. So we have questions that we're gonna ask and answer. But if you guys have questions, definitely feel free to put those in the comments as well, and we will try to get to those questions and address those also.
Yes. All right. Number 1. Drum roll, please. The first question is.
You don't even have it open.
Oh, sorry. Number 2.
Number 2. Okay. When did you know you were in love? Oh, okay.
That's perfect one to start with.
Horrible. Okay, go ahead. You go first.
Okay. When did I know? Oh, I knew I was in love. Okay. I'm going to talk about that first love, right? The first time you look at somebody and you're like, man, like I'm like feeling all the feelings. My heart rate is up. I would, now being 17 years in, I would say that's more like lust. But I'm going to talk about that.
Puppy love, but okay.
Yeah, that puppy love. So we were dating and Mr. Isham came to pick me up from the airport.
Oh, Lord.
And he was wearing this black sweatshirt. And he bent like over on the baggage carousel and picked up my luggage for me and was walking me to the door. And when I tell you, he was the finest man on the world. Like I was in love. I was done. I was done at that moment.
I'm leaving.
Go ahead.
That's it?
That's it.
That's your puppy love. What about real love?
That happened much later in marriage. I think because love, I learned love is not a word. It's an action. It's having been through stuff. It's yeah. So it had to have happened. Like I would say maybe when I saw you hold our son for the first time, our oldest, but no, I don't think we had been through enough at that point. Working through financial problems, maybe. There's been so many things in the last 17 years that I can point out as love, but for me, loving you has become, it like grew. I can't say I loved him then. I could tell you when I had that puppy love though, because I still remember that. Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know that I can like pinpoint a day or a time and say, this is when I fell in love. And I think love is a growth process. Like it's not something that just happens, right away or even at a set point in a relationship. And I think love is ever evolving. So, you may love to a certain degree at year 3, but you may love deeper at, year 17. Hopefully you love deeper
You
at
love me
love
deeper.
17.
You love me deeper.
Yeah, sure.
Uh-huh.
Yep, let's go with that. And so, yeah, I can't really necessarily pinpoint a time, but I think, I guess if I had to say, like, when I realized I didn't want to do life without you,
Oh, don't
Shut
make
up.
me cry.
was let's find some tissue. Was probably like the first time you went out of town alone and
Uh-huh.
left me home, and like not having anybody there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta do that more often.
negative.
Who wants to go on a trip? Put it in the comments.
Negative.
So we can go on a trip.
Absolutely.
So he
not.
can love me more deeply.
Absolutely.
Y'all helping me out.
Absolutely not. Cash App, please. Cash App, $ Raymond Heights.
No. All right, next question. It is 3.
Number 3. Okay. Your relationship wouldn't last. Your relationship wouldn't last, and how did you come back from those feelings? What?
Okay, I don't type. I dictate. So
Uh-huh.
tell me about a time when you thought your relationship would not last, and how did you come back from those feelings?
Okay, so probably, gosh, like 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, when I was in a really deep state of depression, and I didn't want to be married anymore. I was ready to get out and walk away, and I don't know where I was going or what I was going to do, but yeah. How I came back from that, I think a part of that was taking a sabbatical, stepping away from some things, and just having some time to regroup, and to figure out what I really wanted out of life.
That was definitely a difficult time in our marriage, because I felt alone. But I also knew, like I prayed more during that time and sought God more in that time than ever, because I didn't really feel like I had your support because you were going through, and we had like just life. Life was lifing. It was lifing, and yeah. But I didn't think that's not the time I thought we wouldn't last. I knew we would last because again I was praying, and I knew God was getting me through. For me, it was. Okay, I gotta take you back. So.
Oh God! Oh my gosh! Okay, all right, go ahead.
Mr. Isham proposes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, so you proposed. Remember, I'm not going to share how you proposed. It wasn't anything special, but anyway, he proposed, and I said yes.
I thought it was very special, but okay, go ahead.
Whatever. It's not appropriate for this live. But anyway, he proposed and I said yes, and we were gonna move forward with our marriage. Like I legit thought that we were like getting married. And he came to me like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later.
Maybe, I don't know.
And was like, no, I don't really think we can get married, and I don't really know if I want to do this. And he was backing out. Like, look, okay.
I wasn't backing out.
Were.
I was just idling.
He was getting cold feet, and I wasn't for it. And I thought, how can I get married to someone who isn't sure like I was sure? And those feelings took years for God to bring healing to those feelings.
Years. Okay.
Yeah. It did.
Interesting.
Because I always felt like maybe we weren't meant to be. Maybe I forced it.
But I think you were in before I was in. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think that's okay though. Like, I don't think both people have to be in at the same time.
Having heard other people's stories, I think that's a common story. That oftentimes it's one person than the other. But as a woman, I feel like I had to protect myself. If that makes sense. Like, I had fully given you my heart, and I was scared that you hadn't given me yours.
Okay.
So I would, ladies, if he's not down with the cause, then no.
But I mean, what does that mean, down with the cause? Like, and why does it have to be at a set time? Like, just because one person is in doesn't mean that the other person is not coming around.
Yes, but again, this is something my mom taught me. I remember clear. She was like, I asked her for the waffle recipe that she used to make every like weekend. And she said to me, "You're not married. Why are you giving him waffles like you're his wife?" And first I was mad, like, just give me the waffle recipe. Like, what's the deal? But it's so true. If I'm sold out as a female and I'm wanting to give you time to get there, me jumping in and treating you like you're my husband doesn't help you get there. That just gives you license to hurt me, right? Like, I have to stop jumping in just because I'm there without commitment on both ends. That's not marriage. Like, I can't play like I'm married and you're not in it, because it takes two people to have that same level of commitment.
Yes. But I say that goes to the extent of not making waffles for me.
No, you're not getting waffles, Raymond.
I mean, like, like waffles is not on the same level as like getting the cow. So
getting the cow.
Well, I mean, you know what they say, like, you get the get the milk before the cow. Yeah. So like, I don't think that that's even on the same level. So I don't like.
But I shouldn't be making waffles at your house after we've spent the night together.
But you shouldn't have been at my house.
Okay.
But that's a whole other conversation for a whole nother day. See? Okay.
So anyway, that was the answer to my question. What was the question anyway?
The question was a time where you thought the relationship wasn't going to work.
Yes, I thought it wasn't going to work when he had cold feet. He came back around in like 2 more weeks. It wasn't long, but and he proposed again in a much better. It was more appropriate and memorable the second time he proposed.
Gee, wow, thanks.
Okay. Question 5.
Question 5. What do you mean when you say the covenant of marriage?
Okay, so when I say covenant, it is not it's locked in. It's unbreakable. It's a bond. Like, we are ride or die, wheels fall off. Like, I'm here for you no matter what. I'm not even getting to the biblical piece of it. I just think of it like lifelong. Like, people say, oh yeah, you're married for life, and but it is forever. Like, I will never ever ever. I think about that when people get married, they do the sand thing, where they have 2 different color sands and they mix them together, and they say, like, you can't separate them. Like, even if you sat there with tweezers and tried to pull them apart, you'll never get it all the way apart.
You think anybody's ever tried it?
To get people apart, yes. Not sand.
No. Because like, if I could separate the sand, then does that mean that we could get a divorce?
No.
Okay.
Plus, this is a covenant here, buddy. You're not breaking. There's no out.
Never ever.
Never ever.
No. Okay. So, yeah, Rosemary's not going to hit the biblical piece, but that's fine. I will. So marriage is a covenant. It's not a contract, right? It's covenants in the Bible were oftentimes made with blood, right? And you see that in marriage, right? So like, once the blood is mingled, like Rosemary mentioned the saying, like, once the blood is mingled, there is no separation of that, right? And so what is joined together, there's nothing that can separate it. But a covenant also includes God, right? And so I think I got to go back to the question. I think, obviously work has to be done to make the covenant work. And so as long as both parties are seeking after God, then they will continue to grow closer together, and the covenant will get stronger. And so yeah, covenant is more than a relationship. It's more than a contract. It's a lifelong commitment.
I think it also speaks to, like, there have been seasons in our marriage where one of us needed more than the other at that time. Like Ray was talking about how a couple of years ago he had, I can't call it a midlife crisis because you weren't old enough, A crisis.
I was
A
going.
situation.
I was dealing. It was an entanglement.
No, don't say that. It's not an entanglement.
I was having an entanglement with depression. Now,
But during that like again, those seasons where you have to give more because your spouse is going through something, that's when the covenant is strength is like sure, and you have to rely on that. Like for me, even though you were having your greatest thoughts about leaving me in that time, that's when I relied heavily on the vow that you gave me when we got married and the covenant that we agreed to, or we began 17 years ago. So I think you have to remember that when it's hard.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. And I hadn't really thought it out much, but they were talking about how, people say marriage is 50-50 to get to that 100.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of people say marriage is 100-100, right? But what this person was saying was basically that marriage is more like both parties should be giving 100, but you also recognize that there are seasons when one person or even both people can't give 100, or are not giving 100 for whatever reason, and you kind of need like to be postured to try to make up the difference, right? So like if I come home from work on Monday and I'm at 45%, right? Then obviously we need to get to 100, right? And so it's like, hey, Rosemary, I'm not able to give 100 right now. I'm not at that place right now. Can you make up the difference, right? And I think that even goes back to that covenant piece. Like it's not, oh well, he's being a butt or she's not here, so I'm checking out too, right? It's okay, what can I do to help make up the difference? Or there may be a day when both of us are functioning at 25%, and you know what? It's just gonna be what it is. We're not gonna kill each other. We're not gonna attack each other, and we're gonna function at 50% together, and we're gonna make it through the next day and hope for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the grace piece, right? Like you give each other grace because it's not about the day; it's the lifetime.
Yes.
Like I want to celebrate. I really do. I want to celebrate like 80 years together. I think we can. Every time I say that, he looks at me like, "Ugh, why are you saying that?" We can do 80 years. We'll be old, like Ricky,
like 100.
Like this little slump I got going on will be permanent.
I'm good. I'm good.
I think we can do it.
I'll take 60.
All right. Anybody have questions? You can put them in the chat. I don't see any questions.
No.
Okay, cool. All right. Next question. You ready for this one?
Come on, Grandma.
I'm coming. Question number 1.
Question number 1. All right. How have children impacted your relationship? Has it changed as they've gotten older? Okay, I'm going to start this question with an acronym.
Sure.
Yeah, an acronym. KIDS. KIDS. Killing intimacy daily successfully. That's what children do. Children kill the intimacy in a relationship. I won't tell you not to have children, but don't have children, okay? Like, because they're gonna mess everything up. They're gonna break your stuff. They're gonna yell and scream and fight and argue. They're gonna bother you all the time. They're gonna crawl in your bed. They're gonna poop on you, pee on you. They're gonna get funky attitudes with you. They're gonna steal your stuff. Yeah.
I promise you.
And they're gonna pit you against each other.
I promise you, he loves his children. Okay, he does love his children.
T-minus 2 years until the first one leaves. Okay. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Children definitely change your relationship. Our story is that we basically started with children.
Yes.
Like, I think our first child was born 3 months.
4 months.
4 months after.
And 3 days.
Okay. 4 months after we were married, and wow, it just was a lot. Children are a lot. They take on a lot. They change your relationship a lot because they take time. Their time. Kids. I don't know. There's no acronym for the time that they take, but literally they just take a lot of time, a lot of attention, but also they're a beautiful expression of each other. Like I see things that I know about my husband, or that, I see my husband in my children, and I love that about him. Like I love seeing that, and I know he sees me and them, and I think they're amazing, aren't they?
Absolutely, yes.
And so I think it's like it's an expression of your love in a unique way. Like no other way can you literally see yourself walking around, your spouse walking around. Oftentimes a mixture of you and your spouse and the same kid, and you're like, interesting, So they change it because they take your time and your energy, but they also strengthen it because it's you guys together. Like we made that, we did that, and you get to be proud of that. So
I guess.
As they get older, somehow it sneaks up on you, but they become more independent. But then also some ways I feel like it's more, somebody said it's less of the like work to do with your hands, like you don't have to pick them up and change them and do things for them, but it's more of the head work and the prayer work. And I see that, I definitely do. You worry a little bit more about different things. I used to think they would never stop peeing in the bed. Like I remember vividly saying they're never going to stop pissing on themselves. And now I worry that, you know, they're they're not going to figure out what they like to do in life, and I worry that they are ruining opportunities because of seasons or attitudes that they have in their lives. So, children.
Um, yeah, so it's definitely changed over the years. Like Rosemary mentioned, they're more independent. Like, we can leave them now and not have to worry much about them burning the house down or killing each other. Um, I think we're kind of in a space, and it's nothing new, but there's the decision of whether people have children younger or older.
Yeah.
We obviously started younger. I was 21 and you were 19 when we got married. Maybe I was 20. I don't remember. And what?
No, I'm.
And we'll still be in our 40s when the last child leaves. And so, God willing, we'll have lots of life to live after that. But I think, I guess one of the downsides of having children early, particularly right at the top of a marriage, is that you don't really have the time to learn each other and to know each other, to spend time with each other. I mean, we're really just getting to a place, like I said, like we can leave the children home. But I can't just, up and go on a 5-day cruise. Like there's, planning involved. We can't just up and go out and do whatever because we've got obligations at home with children, and where, people get married and they wait 3, 4, 5, 6 years to have children. There's that time to, work on each other, to learn each other, to figure out what you like and don't like and all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, you got to kind of figure out what works best for you. But I think that is a question that needs to be asked and determined before you get into marriage, whether you want children at all. And if you do, when is the right time to have children? And I can honestly say that there is no right time, because they're going to flip your life upside down.
You're always going to be broke.
Yes.
It's never enough money.
No, that's not 80 kids. Wait, 80 what? Somebody said 80 yes. I don't know what that means, but okay. No, you won't always be broke. It's I think, people say children are so expensive. Like, yeah, things cost money, but like it's also what you put into it, right?
Yes.
Like if you're buying your kid J's, I mean J's are $150.
My point is though that you never have. It seems like it's always gonna take what you have. You're gonna spend it on your kids. You make more money, then you end up spending more money on them. When we were poor, They still took all the money.
I don't think so, though. They didn't take all of our money.
Well, they took a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
Though. I'm like, so, and it wasn't. I feel like they do.
Yeah, Kristen Blakely said 80 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
80 years.
Forever is a long time.
That's how long I love you.
Bye.
Forever. That's a song, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Forever is a long time. Yeah. Wow. Do better. Okay. Moving on.
I balled these up too small. I'm sorry. Okay.
Number
6.
6. All right. Number 6. What's one question you wish you asked for research before research before you got married?
How to stop having children. How many children do you want?
Absolutely. That was exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
So we're y'all know us. We're Christians. And we used to have really strong feelings about birth control. Like very conservative feelings about birth control.
Yes.
And I think we were just young and we were not experienced in life. We hadn't had these conversations with seasoned Christians, so we didn't do a research. We read our Bible, we understood what we thought we understood, and we went through marriage, making babies. Now I love our children, all 7 of them. They're beautiful. But had we done that research, had we asked those questions, we would not have 7 children.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So I would ask, if you are getting married, thinking about getting married, do that research and think about it not from the perspective of like, oh, we'll just do this temporary. Like it is such a forever thing, right? Because you're going to be enjoying your marriage bed for a long time and children come. Like your mom was what, 40 something?
43?
Yeah. So like, what's the long-term plan look like? And ask questions like, as a woman, what impact does that have on my health? I see all this research about women who are on birth control for all these years.
Okay, wait, hold on, time out. Your pastor just joined the live, so we have to be very careful with what we say now because he's going to talk about us.
He can talk about us.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, back to the conversation about birth control and marriage. So you have to ask those questions, especially as a woman, because there's a lot of research out there that talks about birth control and being on birth control for many years and potential side effects from that. There's a lot of fear for men. When we talk about vasectomies, I see a lot of marriages. Like I had a lot of conversations with married people who are at that point, and the man doesn't want a vasectomy and the woman doesn't want a tubal ligation, and they're like fighting about it. So if there was a question that I should have asked you day one, how many children do you want and what are we going to do about it?
But see, you knew that though. You knew I only wanted 2. My plan was to get married at 27, first child at 29. I wanted a boy and a girl.
And what are we going to do about it?
Yes.
That's the piece. That's the piece that didn't get asked.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That's the piece. Wait, what was the question again? Oh, research. So any question? Yeah, I think that's probably one I would have asked too. How many children do you want?
You asked that question.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't think we were really gonna have 7.
Well, I wanted 4. I always said 4.
Well, true. Yeah, you wanted 4. I wanted 2, and then we got 6, and then you messed up and made it number 7. So
anyway,
wait, what?
We had twins.
Well, yeah, and everybody told you to make twins. So I think that's definitely a really important question to ask. How many children do you want, and then figure out what that looks like, right? Because like Rosemary mentioned, we had really strong conservative viewpoints about birth control, right? And it kind of just came to a point where it was like, okay, there's some things like, yes, the Bible pertains everything, concerning life and godliness, right? But there's some questions that are not that cut and dry, right? And so there's some decisions that that we just have to make, and we have to trust that through prayer, through reading the scriptures, through wise counsel, that you just make a decision, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we got to that place where we just made a decision. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And we went with that, right? And we just have to, hope and pray that we made the right decision and that God is going to bless that. So
I think sometimes you get caught up though in this fear that you created for yourself. I think we were just afraid to grow up and to have this, like, again, we were so young. And on the other side of that decision, there's so much liberty. I have so much peace. Like, I'm good. I have no second thoughts.
you don't want anymore?
No. I'm done.
You don't want another
Finished.
little baby?
No more children. Cannot do again. Real ghetto. No.
I mean, but what if I want another one?
Then I don't know. But that's why we got a dog. You can get another dog.
That's why we got a cat. And look what that landed.
We'll get another something because I can't.
Okay. All right. No more children.
Question,
so that's it. We're done.
Question number 4.
Wait, hold on. So we have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Shanti says, so how do you find a common surroundings? How do you find a common surroundings those hard decisions? Which question was that? I don't remember.
Okay, so any decision. How do we come together on the
hard decisions?
So you're honest with each other. You have to make sure that both people are saying what they feel, because I think we went through a season in life too, especially around decisions with our children, where it was years later that you didn't tell me how you really felt about some things. And I was like, why didn't you say something? And you were like, well, because you felt strongly about it, and so I just did what you wanted to do.
I don't know what those things were specifically, but there are probably some things that I didn't have an opinion on because I didn't know.
Right, but I think we should. The best decisions are ones that we talked through.
Yes.
That we both came and we said, this is how I feel about it. This is what I'm hearing, et cetera, and then we made that decision. So you have to talk about it. You have to not be afraid to say how you feel, and then you have to listen to the other person, because I feel better when you don't when you entertain my thoughts. Don't put your hand up there.
When I entertain what?
When you at least make me feel like you're hearing me, Because sometimes our personalities, my husband is lovely, and that's what I love about him. He's very black and white, where I could be more gray, if that makes sense.
Yes. 50 Shades of Grey.
A whole bunch of shades of gray. And so sometimes for me, I need him to, even though he doesn't understand my whole like shades of gray or the way I see things, when he is at least able to tell me what I said. So I know that he understands what I'm trying to communicate. Then I know that he's at least entertaining my feelings instead of just dismissing them because they don't fit in his black and white perception.
I think another part of that also is, and this comes with time, is building trust, right? Mm-hmm. And I always think back, and I know this is a horrible example, but there was a show called Preachers of LA. Mm-hmm. You don't remember that
Go
show?
Ahead.
Oh, and there was like a couple episodes where Bishop Noel Jones was, I think it was a birthday party, either for him or for his fiance. I don't remember which, but he stood up and everybody thought that he was gonna, propose and say how much he loved her and all this kind of stuff. And he said, "I trust you," right? Huh. And everybody was just like, "Oh, I can't believe you said this. Like, what's wrong with you? You were supposed to propose. It was the perfect opportunity, yada, yada, yada." But thinking it back on, and again, this is my personality. All the women are like bashing him and calling him everything but a child of God. Yes. But I'm looking at it like, yeah, you can have love and that's good, but love is only going to take you so far. You need trust, right? And the fact that he was able to, trust her to that point, I think opened the door for him to have love for her and to move to that place that they ultimately did when they got married, right? And so I think trust is a key part of dealing with difficult choices and decisions that need to be made. Like, do I trust you? Like, yes, I might not agree with you. I might not agree with your opinion, but do I trust you that we're gonna make it through this together, regardless of which option we end up choosing at the end of the day.
Yes. Not to belabor this question. This is obviously one we've had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it helps for me to say, I'm gonna trust you, but I really am struggling with this decision.
Yes.
Because especially when I'm functioning in my role as wife, as helper, sometimes I have to submit to his authority. And that comment of, babe, I'm trusting you, but I really disagree with this, isn't to say I'm standing up on the inside, even though I'm doing what you said, but it's because I'm literally giving him the authority that's rightfully his as my husband, as my covering, and also communicating to him that I'm like, this is hard for me. I might need you to come and reassure me that I got you. And so that it gives him that opportunity to be like, let me make her understand, make her realize just how much I care and I really value her opinion and her viewpoint.
I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here. So we're gonna delete this live as soon as it's over.
Everybody take out a pen and paper, write down what he's saying, okay?
But so she talked about wives submitting to their husbands. But I think it's in Colossians, Paul talks about submitting to one another, right? Mm-hmm. And so it goes both ways. It's like, yes, the husband is the head, but it goes both ways. And there have to be times where it's not just the husband saying it's my way or the highway, but the husband also submits to his wife as well.
Amen.
Delete that.
No, not delete it.
Yes.
Right. Imprinted on my heart forever.
That's fine. All right, next question.
Question 4. We got any more questions there?
No.
Okay.
Question 4. What's the best thing about your spouse and how do you celebrate that? Lord Jesus.
Ooh. He is I would be in the bed, sleep, at home, chilling. Like that's me. That is me.
Okay, go ahead.
But that's not him. He gets me out and gets me doing things, and I love that about him. We went to the Bahamas on a cruise. You're supposed to stay on the boat, and if you don't get on the boat, you do the things that the people tell you to do. Not him. He goes, and we walk the neighborhood like we live there.
The hood.
Yes. Eat at some random house. But that was like
grandma made the best food ever.
She threw down, and it was one of the happiest times in my life. And it's because you are crazy. No, you're not crazy because you push me to do stuff I would not do. So I appreciate that. I celebrate that by pushing myself to do it with you as much as I can.
Even though you talk crazy and
and sometimes I complain a lot
about it.
I try.
I mean, we're being honest here,
I'm
right?
there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're there.
Deep down inside, when I'm complaining, I really like it.
Lies.
Mm-hmm.
Lies. But okay. So let me see. What are the best things about your spouse and how do you celebrate them? Man, this is a toughie. Whew. Man, I don't know.
What you trying to say? I got so many things.
It's just so much, man.
Pick one quickly.
Okay.
Y'all keep finna get in trouble. It's gonna be a short night.
Listen, this live about to get cut real short. I think one of the things is Rosemary actually does like to stay home and stay in the bed. And I am always go. And I think that's one of the things that I've had to learn is to slow down, right? And to, not always be on the go, not always leave home. And sometimes it's okay to sit down and relax and to, do nothing. And as much as it pains me from time to time, like I'm learning, like sit down and do nothing and be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. We were on our way to the hotel for our anniversary, and he's like, so where are we going? What are we doing? And I'm like, going to the hotel. And I have activities planned, but we're gonna stay in the hotel.
Like, but there are things to do. Like, even at the hotel, like there are things to do. And it's like we're not gonna like take
No.
advantage of this while we're here?
We're not going
Like,
swimming. I'm staying in this room with you
But we paid for the hotel, so we can
Yes.
take advantage of all the things that the hotel has to offer.
tomorrow.
Oh, okay. As we're checking out. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. I think somebody said greetings. Is that what I'm reading?
Yes. Greetings.
Hello.
That is. I don't know. It didn't show up yet.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. Question number. You ready? We have 2 more questions.
Erica West.
Hey, Erica. Hey. Okay. Question number 8.
Oh, question number 8. Okay. Oh Lord. Let's talk about sex, baby.
Just as my coworker joins. All right, let's do it.
How do you keep the physical intimacy with a single person for so many years, through so many changes, children, physical, mental, etc.? All right, yeah, go for it.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So, I'll start with our story. So we, of course, married young. We're Christian. We grew up Christian, so we believed in abstinence until marriage, until we met each other.
Mm-hmm.
And as I call him my kryptonite, he definitely is. He still makes my heart skip beats. But I guess for us, how do you still keep that fire? Like that just passion, it's because it changes, right? You get old. First of all, hormones are trash.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for women, you get older, things change, you have babies, lots of things change, more babies, more things. It's just craziness. But you stay in love with the person. You stay physically attracted to someone by putting in that time. I remember we went to a marriage conference and they challenged everyone to have sex more.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a thing. And we looked at each other like,
what is y'all smoking?
like, y'all not having sex?
Right.
And at that time, we were pretty early in our marriage and it wasn't an issue. But as you get older, we're 17 years in, there have been seasons where one or both of us was like, we getting old. My back hurt.
I'm tired. It's been a long day. Like yeah,
not the excuse of the headache, but I really have a headache.
Yeah.
So, but you put in the work. So one thing, and this is just a tip that I have as a woman that I'll share. If he asks and I'm not up for it, then I have to, in my mind, plan when I'm going to say yes. And I don't tell him,
yes,
but I do it. So usually it's, if he asks on Monday, then by Tuesday, I'm trying to get him. And I think that keeps the spice alive because then you don't feel rejected. Because a lot of times you don't feel in marriage, you're not keeping the bedroom active because you feel rejected. One of y'all feel rejected and no, you're not coming together anymore. Also communication.
yes.
Like, if you like it, you need to say that. If you don't like it, then you need to say that. Like, hello, it's like anything. You can't just be silent about stuff.
I think too, and this didn't work out very well for us, but planning is something that may work for some people, right? Like, okay, Tuesday and Thursdays, right? Or Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, or, you don't go more than 3 days, right? Or a week at a time, or, whatever the case may be. And I think, it's finding what works, right? But the Bible talks about not staying away from each other too long, lest you run into temptation, right? And so I think you have to find what works. And that may be one way today, and something different tomorrow, and something different 5 years from now. But keep communication open, and find what works for you.
Yeah. One more thing, and I'm gonna move on to the last question. Stop watching what other people are doing.
Yes.
Like,
because half that crap you can't do no way.
You mean we can't do the upside down, downward dog, backwards,
downward dog?
I don't know.
Absolutely not. No, ma'am. I'm too big and too old for that. No.
Yeah, but just stop trying to compare yourself to other people because first of all, that ain't gonna work out.
Right.
Oh, I have very many funny stories of things not working out well. Um, but also the best things are things that you come to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like that you all work out in your times.
Yes.
All right, last question because we only got 10 more minutes. Number 7.
True or false? Marriage will never include heartbreak. False. Absolutely false. You're dealing with two people with two different personalities, two different
Yes.
backgrounds, ages, everything. Like,
Yes.
yeah. You're trying to bring people together that a lot of times have a lot of differences of opinions and ways of doing things. And then people change, right? Like I remember he didn't go into too much detail about it, but my dad told me, I don't know, I guess when Rosemary was like 29 or so, that by the time she got to 35, things were going to change.
He was only half right.
And 79%. And I mean, it wasn't like change for the better, change for the worse, or whatever. It was just change, right? And it's like, so did it lead to heartbreak? No, but I think that as people change, as people evolve, as relationships go through the ebbs and flows, that there's always the potential for heartbreak. And like they say, never say never and never say always, because there's always the possibility for it.
Yeah. I think the key word is it's a relationship. And if you ever had a relationship with someone, you know that there are good times and there are bad times. There are times when you're ready to just strangle that person. And there are times when you just cannot live without them.
That's how you feel? You just want to strangle me?
Sometimes.
Today? Wow. So if I come up missing, y'all heard it here first. Great.
Never mind. I won't tell you. I'll tell him later what I thought about anyway.
All right. Go ahead.
But yeah, so sometimes it's everything isn't roses, and that's okay. You work through it, you pray through it. You have much grace.
Yeah.
Much grace.
That's one of the things that I'm kind of living. Well, I guess one of my sayings for 2023 is there's grace for that, right? It doesn't mean that you go out and do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, but there should be grace for that, right? Like people are going to mess up, people are going to fall short, people are going to do things that make the other person upset, whatever the case may be. But there's grace, right? Grace and more grace, and so we have to be willing to give grace to each other, because if you want it in return, you have to be willing to give it.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Good times and bad times say that. I love y'all. This is good. Cool. All
right. That's all the questions I had. You got another question since I did the questions?
No, I don't have any other questions. And I don't see any other questions in the comments. So yeah.
I have other plans, so we can wrap this up.
Let's keep it PG, please. Thank you. Thanks. They're probably children in here watching with their parents.
Okay.
Ask your mother and father how you got here. How about that?
Don't do that.
Yeah. And watch them squirm all weekend.
Okay. Thank you guys for spending some time with us. I think we're going to wrap it up a few minutes early. I was aiming for about an hour, but we're close enough. Yeah. So yeah, if you can share, just to help somebody, especially if you know somebody who is either married or thinking about getting married, I think it's helpful. Our marriage has been strengthened by spending time talking about marriage with other people. So I would encourage, if you're married, talk about marriage. Find another married couple that you guys can talk about things. Again, I used to think we were so weird, and I realized we're not that. We're individually weird. Together, we're kind of weird, but our marriage is a lot like everyone else's marriage. And yeah, we wouldn't know that if we didn't talk about things with other people. Yeah.
So I think really at the end of the day, marriage is about communication, trust, and covenant, right? Like I think if you get those three, then you'll make it 17 and 17 more. And yeah.
Yeah, you'll blink in like 17. It's funny because we both said we didn't think it was 17 years, but then we realized our oldest is 16, so it has to be 17 years.
Yes. So we actually have another question. What are suggested ways to resolve problems or conflicts?
Oh, the back-to-back thing.
Yes. So that was something we started early on in our relationship, was to have back-to-back conversations. And so basically what you do with that is you sit in a room together, back to back, in the dark, right? And that puts you in a place where you're not looking at the other person, so you don't see their, facial expressions, good, bad, or indifferent. And
But you
can
feel them.
Yes, but you feel them, and you can say what you need to say without the, I guess, like glare of judgment, and kind of talk through what you're feeling, what you're thinking, where you are. Yeah,
I really recommend that. We don't use it very much anymore, but when we were,
like probably the first 2 years.
Yes, because I think we were passionate. We were young and dumb though, but we were passionate about things, and we used to have way more. I think our arguments now are less explosive than they were then. Would you say that?
Okay.
And so the back-to-back helped us to be less aggressive towards each other. If we were looking at each other saying those words, it would have escalated. But because we were vulnerable with each other in the dark space, just touching each other, it made it so that we weren't so volatile.
Yeah. I think another way is being honest with each other. Don't hide your feelings. Yeah, it may not come off right. The other person may not receive it the way you intended it. But trust enough to be honest, and then be willing to work through it. Right. I think another thing that we did early on is we're not sleeping in separate rooms, right? Like this ain't 1956 I Love Lucy and we sleep in separate beds or separate rooms.
Although I'm becoming a fan.
Anywho, and so it's like you can't put me out of my bed and I can't put you out of your bed, right? Like we're not sleeping apart because we're mad at each other or anything like that. And we don't leave the house for extended periods of time, right? Like I'm not just about to go run. Now, there have been times when we have done these things, right? Like, somebody storms out of the house and we stay gone for a few hours and turn off our, location on our phone. Don't look at me with that tone of voice.
I remember the time I did that. I'm saying I love Jesus, but I cussed him and everybody in my house out, clean out. And I left and I went to Simmons' house.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember I sat on his couch crying. And I was like, I just don't know how to go home. And he was like, just go home.
Go home. Yes.
Just go home.
Go back to your husband where you belong. Yes. So yeah, I think, things like that. Because when you get into the habit of, separating yourself from one another, sleeping in separate rooms, separate beds, all that kind of stuff, like those are wedges that can drive the relationship apart. And so I think, squashing those things up front, that those are things that you're not going to do, or at least make a regular practice of, that helps to navigate through the waters of problems and conflicts. Any other questions? Any other questions that we can answer before we go? Cedric laughed at you. I don't know why.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for joining us, for spending a little time with us tonight, and hearing our part of our story, and how we made it. And hopefully we said something that'll help you, whether you're married or not, if you're contemplating marriage or even if you're contemplating divorce, that, hopefully something was said to help you, to help rekindle the love, to help move you back in the right direction, and end up in a much better place.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I'm going to end it now.
So we're going for dinner.
Wait,
hold on. One more. Oh, she just needed to get away. No.
I did need to get away.
No, you stay.
I came back.
You're stuck to me forever.
I am.
Forever. All right, guys. Thanks. Y'all have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time with the Legacy Group. Y'all have a good evening.
Bye.